Okay, in section 4.4 today, we're going to be factoring trinomials. All right, and our objectives, A, was to factor trinomials in which the leading coefficient is 1. And B, it's factor trinomials in which the leading coefficient is a number other than 1. All right, so these are two little guides that will help us solve our problem in a fast, efficient way. All right, we remember from beginning algebra that when we multiply two binomials, such as x minus 2 times x plus 3, that we get, let's see, foiling, it's x squared. Outside would be plus 3x. Inside would be negative 2x. And last would be negative 6. So when I combine my middle terms here, I end up with x squared plus x minus 6 is my solution for multiplying x minus 2 times x plus 3. Okay, so if that's the case, now in chapter 4.4, where we're at now, we're factoring, we're going to look at the problems and they're going to look something like this, where the lead coefficient is 1. Well, we don't write the lead coefficient when it is 1, so I know, though, that the lead coefficient here is 1 because it's really 1x squared, but we don't write the 1. Okay, so whenever I have problems that are led with x squared or y squared or a squared, whatever the variable will be, then I know this comes from this format here. Okay, so I know ahead of time that I'm going to have two parentheses, set of parentheses. And when I have problems such as this, I can just fill it in with what I know, kind of like reverse FOIL. So on this one, what do I know? I know that an x goes here and an x goes here. I know my signs are going to be, well, I copy the first sign here. That gives me that first sign to deal with. And if this sign is negative and this sign is positive, well, when I multiply the last terms here, this would be a positive times a what would give me a negative. And it would be a positive times a negative. All right, so I'm filling in all this ahead of time. And then lastly, I have to deal with the 6. What are two numbers when I subtract will get me 1. So that means a 3 will go here and a 2 will go here. So now I've got the same two terms, x plus 3 times x minus 2. Did I say that right? X plus 3 times x minus 2 and x minus 2 times x plus 3. And, you know, they can be reversed. They don't have to be in the same order. Okay, so that's how this section will go. We'll get to the point where the lead coefficient is not 1. Then I'll show you a different way for doing that, commonly called the grouping method. All right, let's go to practice problem. Let's do this one here, practice problem 1, where it is saying, I'm going to rewrite this as well, change colors. I've got x squared minus x minus 12. And I have got to factor that. Okay. Let's see. Let's see here. All right, let me get to the problem instead of monkeying around with that. All right, lead coefficient is 1, so that tells me I'm going to set up my parentheses. And I'm going to fill in everything I know. X here, copy down this sign between the first and second term here, and then determine what sign this is going to be. That's going to go here. If this is negative and this is negative, that means this has to be positive, because a negative times a positive is a negative. And now I have my two terms left again. This is negative x, so that means it's negative 1x. My factors are 12. And so I need two numbers that'll have negative 1. So that would be negative 4 and positive 3. So the 4 goes here, and the 3 will go here. So I have x minus 4 times x plus 3, and this is my answer for practice problem 1. Okay, let's try this one. Practice problem 2, I'm going to factor this. Now notice I've got a y squared at the end, kind of matching my x squared at the beginning. So what does that mean? My lead coefficient is 1 still. So again, I can set up my parentheses and fill in my answer. So I know an x will go here and an x will go here. Now to deal with this y squared at the end, I'm going to put a y here at the end of the binomials, both of them, a y here and a y here. Now think about when I multiply y times y, what do I get? Y squared. That's the last in FOIL. Okay, and now I got my signs to deal with. How about a positive here, just by copying this one down, and then determine what this sign is based on what this sign is here. So if this is a negative and this is a positive, that means this has to be a negative. And now I've got 15 as my number. I could write negative 15 if you wanted. And I've got to get a positive 2 out of the factors of negative 15. Well, that looks like it's 5 and 3. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 minus 3 is 2. And that's the 2 that I'm looking for here. All right, so I'm going to put a 5 here and a 3 here. Not a 2. 2 is what I'm looking for, and that's what I got. Okay, so it's x plus 5y times x minus 3y. And that one's done. Okay, practice problem 3. Okay, let's go. Lead coefficient is 1. Set up my parentheses and fire away. X here, X here. Well, they're both positive in the problem, my sign, so they're both positive down here in my answer. Now I need 2 factors of 1 that'll add up to be 1. Well, geez, if I have 1 here, 2 factors of 1 is 1 times 1. And when I add it, I get 2. I don't need a 2x, I need a 1x. So this is not factorable. This is what we call not factorable or prime. Cannot factor it. Okay, let's go to 4. Practice problem 4. When factoring when the lead coefficient is not 1. Okay, well here we go. We've got, I wanted a little bit easier one. Let's do something a little easier first. Hold on. Okay, here I've got an example here. This is what's known as factoring a trinomial where the lead coefficient is not 1. In this case, it's 2 because if you look at 2, 13, and 15, I can't factor out that 2, so I'm stuck with it. All right, so then here's where I have to go to the grouping method, what is called the grouping method. All right, in the grouping method, we have, I'm going to multiply, here's some steps for you to remember. Multiply A times C. All right, so 2 times 15 is 30. A is 2 and C is 15 and B is 13. All right, that's the standard form. All right, so I'm multiplying A times C, and when I get my A times C, it's 30. Then I want to find 2 factors of 30 that add to B. Add to BB. Add to B B. Remember, B is 13. A, B, C. Standard form of a quadratic expression or equation. All right, so if that's the case, find two factors of 30 that add up to be 13. Well, in that case, it looks like it's 10 times 3. 10 times 3 is 30. 10 plus 3 is 13. So those are my two factors as I'm going about doing the grouping method. Next, I want to rewrite. The key word is rewrite the problem into a 4-term polynomial. Okay, so here's how I rewrite that, the original problem into a 4-term polynomial. Copy 2x squared plus, then I'm going to rebuild this 13x by using the 10 and the 3. So my first write in here for the x variable would be 10x plus 3x plus 15. And now I've written this trinomial here into a 4-term polynomial that I'm going to factor. Okay, and that means I'm going to, if you remember, we group them into two binomials and then factor each of the binomials. So here, the 2x squared plus 10x, I can take out a 2x and then put back 2x squared divided by 2x is x plus 10x divided by 2x is 5 plus, copying down this plus sign over here, and then my right side binomial, I'm going to factor out a 3, and what's left is x plus 5. 3x divided by 3 is x, 15 divided by 3 is 5. Okay, I'm not done yet because I've got these common binomial factors of x plus 5, and I'm going to factor that out. And then after I cross these off, I can say what's left over. And it's 2x plus 3. And we're done. Okay. I'll give you the first 3 steps here. That should be enough to let you know. Then we've got to group them into 2 binomials and factor each one of them, which we've already done from the previous section. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, so that was just your example here. Going back to this problem, you can see it's kind of, really mucked up. We got a lot going on here. All right, so in that case, what can I do? Let's rewrite that thing, I think. Let's see, how can I do that? Got my eraser here, cover it up, I'll do it here. All right, so I've got a 3, 15, and an 18. However, in this problem, I can take out the 3. I've got some factoring to do here to begin the problem. This is when you do it at the very onset of the problem. So here I can take out a 3 and check out the x's. I got an x to the 4th, x to the 3rd, and x squared. So that means I can take out the x squared. All right, the y, I can't take out the y. I don't have a y for the first term here, so I've got to leave it. All right, I'm going to put back what's left over now. 3x to the 4th divided by 3x squared is x squared. Negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. Then we have x cubed divided by x squared, which is x. And then y divided by 1 would be y. So the y comes along with it. It's going to stay with us. And then I've got negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. X squared divided by x squared is 1. 1 times 6 would, so that 6 remains. I don't have to put down the 1. And then y squared divided by 1 is y squared. Okay, you can see how this is developing now. So I was able to factor out the 3 at the beginning of the problem, so I'm not doing the grouping method. I factored it out. So now I've got the lead coefficient is now 1, which is much easier. So I can lay this 3x squared down here, and then I can put in my 2 binomials and finish off the problem. So what's going to go where? I'm going to have an x here and an x here. Copy down my sign here, minus. And then if this is minus and this is minus, this is plus. Because a negative times a positive is a negative. And I see I've got a y squared at the end, so I'm going to put a y here and a y here. So now I'm left with negative 6 is my factor. 2 factors of negative 6 that will add up to be negative 5. So it's got to be negative 6 times 1. Okay, that checks out. So I'm going to put the 6 with the negative sign, negative 6, and y. I could just leave that y, or put the 1 there if you wanted to. You don't have to. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is our completed answer. Okay, that was for practice problem 4. Okay, I'm going to skip over to practice problem 8 now, doing the factoring by grouping. What's sandwiched in between there is where we learn to factor by guessing and checking. But I don't guess and check with you. I want you to be able to do them without having to spend an extraordinary amount of time having to figure out what those 2 numbers are that you multiply to add up to be the middle term. All right, so skip that. Let's get on to learning how to do this. All right, so this is all about the grouping method. Grouping method, where we create that 4-term polynomial that we know how to factor, making it real easy. We like to do things the easy way around here. All right, so let's see. I've got the problem. It's 8x squared minus 5x minus 3. Notice I cannot take out anything. I can't factor anything out to begin the problem. So I'm stuck with this 8. So when I'm stuck with a number other than 1, I've got to do the grouping method. And we go about that by first multiplying a times c. 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. All right, I need 2 factors of negative 24 that add up to be negative 5. Okay, so that means I'm going to pick 8 and 3 because there's a difference of 5. And now I've got to determine which one's negative. And it would be the 8 would be negative. So it would be negative 8 and 3 equals negative 5. Okay, here I'm going to rewrite the problem now. So I'm going to say 8x squared minus 8x plus 3x minus 3. So notice the beginning term here is the beginning term here in my working towards my solution. The negative 3, the last term in the trinomial, the problem, I've got it written here at the end. And in between are the 2 factors of negative 24 that add up to be negative 5. Negative 8 and 3 is negative 5. So that's where these things are coming from and where we're going with it. But more importantly, where we're going is we created this 4-term polynomial. for which I'm going to group them now. And then I'm going to factor each of the binomials. So the first one on the left side here, we'll scoot this up. I'm going to take out an 8 and an x. X squared and x. So it's the one with the smallest exponent comes out. All right, what's left over is x minus 1. Bring down the plus sign. And now I've got 3x minus 3. I can factor out a 3, and I'm left with x minus 1. Okay, factoring out the common binomial factor of x minus 1. That's factored out. It's here. And what's left over is 8x plus 3. And again, these two factors now, since they're multiplied together, can go in any order. I could write this as 8x plus 3 times x minus 1, if you wanted to. Okay, how about practice problem 9? Same drill, because I'm stuck with the 4 there. If you observe, I want to try to get rid of the 4 altogether, but I can't. I can't factor it out. So I'm going to do the grouping method. This time it's 4 times 6, which is 24. I think last problem was 24. All right, 24, two factors of 24 that add up to be 11. So it looks like it's going to be 8 times 3, or 8 plus 3 gives you the 11. Multiply 8 times 3 gives you the 24. So that checks out. Let's rewrite the problem now. So here I'm going to have a 4x squared plus 8x plus 3x plus 6. Take a good look at that. I'm going to group them now, two binomials, and factor each of the binomials. So on the left side, I can take out a 4x and put back x plus 2. Bring down my plus sign here, and on the right side, I can take out the 3, and I'm left with x plus 2. Factoring out the common binomial factor of x plus 2 leaves me with 4x plus 3. Done. All right, that was with both positive signs here in the problem. That seemed to have made it a little bit easier. Okay, here's practice problem 10. 4x squared minus 4x minus 15. I can't take the 4 out. Ooh, I wish that 15 were a 16. Then I could take the 4 out, then do the easier way. But it's not, so I'm stuck with it, and I've got to go the grouping method. 4 times negative 15 is negative 60. What are two factors of negative 60 that have a difference of 4? Okay, well, I think of 10 times 6, with the 10 being negative. Okay, everyone agree with that? Negative 10 times 6 is negative 60. When I add these two, negative 10 plus 6, I get this middle term of negative 4. Okay, great. So now I'm going to rewrite the problem. How about 4x squared minus 10x. Notice we have to add the variable to the middle terms here. Even though I've got my factors with the 10 and the 6, I have to add the x's to them. So I make my middle term work. I got negative 10x plus 6x minus 15. There's my 4-term polynomial. Group them, two binomials, and factor each of the binomials. Left side, I can take out a 2 x. And I'm left with 2x minus 5. Okay. And then on the right side, I've got my positive sign that I'm bringing down. I'm going to factor out a 3 on the right side. When I divide back what's left over, I get 2x minus 5. Okay. Now I've got my two common binomial factors. You notice we always get whatever this one is when we're doing our factor, I end up with the same binomial factor on the second one, the one on the right side. Interesting. And take note of that. That would lend you like a little shortcut after a while. Okay, I've got a 2x minus 5 binomial factor that can come out front. These are gone now. I factored it out. And what's left? The 2x plus 3. There. Done with that problem. Done with the section. That's it for section 4.4. So get a grasp of this. This is really important here. The main theme is doing factoring of any kind. So practice that, and remember, any questions or concerns, feel free to contact me. All right. Have a good day.